Coronavirus, quarantine, and pandemic have become a daily part of our conversations. Schools and restaurants are closed, events are canceled, and we can't hang out with our friends and family. We are all primary sources for the events going on right now. We are living history. And as frustrating as this time is, I feel like this is the first time events in my life will be written about in history books someday. And it's easy to think that what's going on is just affecting you or your family or your town, but it's affecting every single person in every corner of the globe. No one is in this alone. These are just a couple of stories that I've gathered from people across the country and across the world.
Hi there from Stoughton, Wisconsin. This is Kat here, my horse, and we've been really lucky that during quarantine I've been able to come out to the barn even though it's alone and while no one else is here. My show season is canceled, so I can't show this year, which is unfortunate, but that means next year I can be even better because now I have a lot of time to practice.
Hi everyone, I am a registered nurse in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My life has changed a lot. So normally I work in the cardiovascular ICU. My normal patients that I would have are people that have had injuries to their heart or lungs. But sometimes my unit is very special because we have patients that sometimes need a special machine called ECMO, which is a heart-lung bypass machine. So basically this is tubes that go into the patient's heart. All the blood from their heart gets pulled into this machine. It goes back into the patient, and the machine acts as the patient's heart and lungs. My ICU, which is the cardiovascular ICU, is getting some of these coronavirus positive patients because they need ECMO. We have around 3 to 4 patients on our unit at any given time that are coronavirus positive that are on these pretty intensive machines. Typically, if you're on an ECMO machine, you're very sick. Typically, everything that I wear into work or wear at work is now completely changed. So this is what I normally would look like. Now, all of our hair has to be up, but our unit has adopted getting a lot of these surgical scrub hats. So now, this is my new routine at work. Have to wear this. I have to be wearing a mask. And if I am in a coronavirus patient room, I'm going to be wearing a special set of scrubs, which are given to us by the hospital. So if I'm going in a coronavirus room, I'm wearing this, but I'm also wearing 2 masks. So this is a really annoying mask. It's really, really hard to breathe in. It's called an N95 mask. So I'd be wearing this mask. I'd put this one over it to keep it clean. So normally this green mask, you would get rid of this mask normally every time you leave a patient room, but because there's a shortage, we have to reuse these for up to 3 to 4 shifts sometimes. Then we have eye protection, and then we'll be putting on a face shield. And then in addition to the scrubs that I'll already be wearing, we'll be wearing these huge gowns, and then I'll be wearing another big disposable mask over the one that I'm already wearing. So we don't even really look like ourselves at all anymore. In addition to wearing all the other stuff, we're also wearing like at least 2 pairs of gloves, what we call booties over our shoes. So basically everything that is exposed, you're covering with something to protect yourself and other patients and your coworkers. I really love my job and I enjoy going to work every day. But now with this pandemic is that being a nurse it's very scary. I talked about the masks before. We don't have the appropriate number of masks to protect us. This one that I have, this is a certain size. They ran out of my size 6 weeks ago. So I'm wearing something that doesn't even fit me, that isn't protecting me. In my head, I walk into work every day wondering, am I going to get coronavirus today? Am I going to be exposed to it and then be asymptomatic and then, pass it on to my loved ones or people that I live with? So while there's a lot of bad things that have been happening in nursing, there's been a lot of good things. So while people are dying from the coronavirus, there's a lot of people surviving. Taking these victories when people get to go home or out of the ICU and they had coronavirus, if they get to leave the ICU and leave the hospital, that is something that we celebrate every day. Also, the community has really shown a lot of love and support for essential workers in general. All of these that I have, all of these scrub hats, were sewn by people and volunteers and donated to us, which is so amazing and so nice. So a lot of people are doing a lot of stuff to protect us as healthcare workers, which has been really great to see, and it makes me just feel really happy that people care that much to help try and keep us safe. So the main thing that we can do to help prevent the spread of this virus and basically any disease out there is to wash your hands really good.
I'm reporting from Jackson, Wisconsin. I work on a COVID floor. Normally our patients are medical surgical, so we normally don't have these kind of patients, but things are a little different now. The biggest change is that we have a lot of protective gear that we have to wear whenever we're in the patient's room. We have to wear a gown, a mask, sometimes our N95 mask, and then gloves, and then a hairnet, and also a face shield. So I have to try and remember to bring everything that you could possibly need while you're in that room, because once you're in, you can't really keep coming in and out of the room. When they get really, really sick, their breathing gets really hard for them, and that's the first sign that they're kind of getting sicker. So we check on them every 2 hours and check their oxygen and how quick they're breathing and make sure that they're not feeling short of breath. I'm always worried about bringing home the coronavirus. It is still really scary thinking of one of us having it and being sick and in the hospital by themselves, because you can't have visitors in the hospital right now. It does seem like it's getting better. We don't have as many patients as we used to, but with the safer at home orders being lifted now, people are out in public and they're not wearing masks and they're doing a lot of things that they used to, which is good, but it's also scary because we're worried that there's going to be another surge of the coronavirus.
The Army National Guard. I am a combat medic. So currently I've been on orders now for about 2 months, so quite some time. I was literally the first group to get called up. So I've been supporting missions all the way from La Crosse and then all the way down to Milwaukee. Currently I'm in Stevens Point. We do have a testing site set up here. And me being a medic, I am the one that usually swabs. So we'll meet with maybe some doctors, nurses, kind of healthcare personnel to see how any changes that have come down. And then we will don our PPE. So PPE is personal protective equipment, such as the M50 gas mask. We will also don the Tyvek suits, so those brown suits you see on the news, and then we'll put on gloves. And then we'll go out kind of to our lanes. So usually we have about 4 lanes, 3 to 4 lanes set up. So we can get constant flow of cars coming in. You know, we're in the suits for probably about 2 hours testing people. That's usually all we can take because it gets pretty hot in those suits. But after that, we kind of decon. So we'll actually, take sponges. We'll use bleach and actually bleach everything that we have. And then we'll move over to soap and water and then water. That's to make sure that the virus is off of us.
Hello from Green Bay. I'm a nurse and I work at one of the local hospitals here. A lot has changed since the COVID-19 outbreak. For starters, when I go to work, I have to go through a separate entrance only for employees, where before I get into the doors, I have to put my mask on, and I wear this mask my entire 8-hour shift. Before I'm let into work, I have to have my temperature taken too to make sure I'm not running a fever, and then I can go to work. At our hospital, we have a no visitor policy, so nobody is allowed to come visit anybody for any reason unless they're dying, and then only one other person at a time can come visit. Another reason that a person can have a visitor is if somebody is having a baby. Usually their husband comes with them. Another thing is that I work in the PACU department, so I help recover people after surgery. Thing has changed where people have to get tested for COVID before their surgeries. So that's kind of nice. Even if people do test positive, we do still have to treat them. So things are just a little bit different that way, where we have to wear, so just instead of gloves, we have to wear gloves, we have to wear a yellow gown, and then we wear a big face shield, and then a special mask. It's called an N95 mask. Hang in there, guys. Everything will hopefully go back to normal soon, and go Pack Go.
Hello from Pittsburgh. We have been at home for like 2 months now. The area where I live, our county actually just got the green light to move on to the next phase. So some things are starting to open up. There are still a lot of things closed. We do have to wear masks in most places where you go. But all in all, people are following the guidelines and things are starting to look a little bit more positive. So we are super thankful for that.
I currently live in New York City. When coronavirus first started really coming up and the cases started rising, I was actually working on a cruise ship. I do musical theater and music entertainment and things like that, and I was working on a cruise ship that was docked in France. And when coronavirus started popping up, they quarantined us to the ship, and then we found out that people on the ship, in fact, did have coronavirus. So we all got quarantined and isolated in our rooms, and we started having our 3 meals a day delivered to us. We weren't allowed to leave our rooms. We weren't allowed to see our friends or anyone. Thankfully, we had internet, so I could contact my family and everything like that. And after a while, I thankfully got tested negative. I do, though, still have friends that are on cruise ships. They are at about the 80-day, almost 90-day mark of floating in the middle of the ocean, not having seen their family and having restrictions on where they can go and what they can do. And I know it's really hard for them, and I know it's really hard for all of you too. Please, please know that everyone is in this together, and anything you can do to make someone else smile or keep them happy and positive, please do it. Hopefully this ends soon.
I'm working in North Carolina. Right now we're taking care of a lot of patients with coronavirus. A lot of the outbreaks have been happening in some of the factories around here. Some of the people that are really working hard to put food on the table. So we're working here to make sure that everybody can stay healthy, get back to their families as soon as possible, and making sure that everybody gets great quality of care and everybody gets the same medical treatment no matter what country they're from, no matter what language they speak. And we're just taking care of everybody to make sure they get the care they need. And I want to thank you guys for what you're doing too, because it's not easy to stay at home during the school year. I know you miss your friends. It's really helpful to us to minimize how much this disease affects other people to keep everybody safe.
I'm a grade 3 teacher in Kinkai, Nunavut, Canada. The biggest thing I'd have to say is that since I'm a teacher, I miss my kids a lot. Schools were canceled here in March due to COVID-19, and because of that, I haven't been able to see any of my kids. I live in a community where it's a poor community, and we don't have computers, and people can't afford internet, so I can't communicate to my students through internet or Zoom or anything like that. So I miss my students a lot. The other thing that has affected our community is that normally we have one flight a day that comes to our community because we live so remotely in the Arctic. But because of the virus, we only have one flight a week coming into the island.
What's up from Winnipeg, Canada? The past few weeks I've been just trying to get outside, stay active as much as I can, just playing some games outside and enjoying the sunshine. We're all in this together, and stay safe, everyone.
And reporting from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And we are actually on our first day of phase 2 of getting back to normal. So we've been in some version of a lockdown for about 2 months with self-isolation and self-quarantines. Pretty much we've been allowed to roam our neighborhoods to get exercise, but our provincial parks have been shut down. Phase 2 means that we're allowed to extend our personal bubble by a little bit so you can see some family, but it's still a pretty small group that you can be spending time with, but we are practicing social distancing still, so that means no high fives, no hugs, don't be too close, but you can enjoy each other's company. It also means that our economy is slowly opening up, and restaurants with social distancing rules, like not every booth is open and not every table is open, only just a few. If you're in a store, a smaller store, only 1 or 2 people can be in there, the rest have to wait outside. But we are moving forward. We're slowly getting back to normal. We'll be praying for other cities and other places who are still kind of going through the thick of it. So brighter days are ahead, guys.
And I'm currently in Puerto Rico. Life here right now is the same thing every day, as I'm pretty sure most of you can relate. Some rules that we have in place are that we're allowed to go out to exercise right now, but we do have a curfew of when we can be out on the road.
I'm from Mexicali, Mexico, and I'm 16 years old, and I'm in high school. And since quarantine starts, here is where I take my online classes. And now we're gonna go downstairs where I take my piano, violin, and dance class. I used to go to my dance studio, but since quarantine starts, my living room is now my dance studio. I dance ballet, jazz, and hip hop. This is my dance ballet, and every day of the week in the afternoon, I take my classes online. Usually I used to go every Saturday morning to my piano and violin classes, but since quarantine started, now I FaceTime him through my phone every Saturday morning. And that's it how my quarantine has been since all start. Bye.
Reporting from Mexico. Right now we are staying at home. We cannot go out, and if we need it for something, we need to go out with face masks and also with gloves. We also keep 1.5 meters distance away from the others, so we have a better security. Stay safe. Goodbye.
I'm reporting from Guatemala. As you can see, I have my mask on right now. That is super important in Guatemala because if you are outside without your mask, you can be fined up to $8,000 US. So everyone's walking around with handmade masks, medical masks, but you have to have something covering your face when you're outside. Another rule is that we have a national curfew. You can't be outside 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. If you are, the government has the right to throw you in jail for up to 30 days. So luckily, no one I know has broken any of these rules, and we are doing well over here. We're in online school as well, but I just wanted to let you guys know that you are not alone. We're thinking of you from Guatemala and hope you guys have a great day.
And I'm a 3rd grade teacher here in beautiful Managua, Nicaragua. We have been doing distance learning for about 6 weeks now. What we use is Google Classroom to post all of our assignments. We've also been using choice boards where there's 12 choices for them to choose for art, music, science, social emotional learning, and PE, and they get to record themselves, take pictures, do projects, and then submit it through Google Classroom. So that's what we're doing here in Nicaragua. I work at the American Nicaraguan School and absolutely love it. And I hope that you guys are having a blast at home with all of your families.
Hi, from London here. As we all know, the coronavirus has affected us as a whole, but I'm just mainly here to talk about UK students. UK students are no longer able to take their GCSE exams. This is very disappointing because all of us have been working for 7 years up towards these big exams. These big exams are very important because they determine our job applications, college applications, or university applications. So basically everything that we do academically around the UK. So now, due to the inconvenience of this pandemic, our grades will be determined by teachers or mock exams that we took before these big exams.
I'm in lockdown as well, like you are. I've been finding ways to keep busy as I'm off work as well. I do discus, part of track and field, full time, and we haven't been able to do that this year, so I've had to do things slightly different. Luckily we've had nice weather, so we can train outside, and for England it's not usually sunny here, so we don't see the sun very often. Things I miss the most is my sports friends from around the country and from around the world. Everything's been closed here, it's been quite strict rules, so it's actually been quite nice to get outside today. Parks are still open and there's still part of a park, so I can come here. This is my home track. Normally it'd be filled with hundreds of people, but now just a few people looking to train.
I'm a retired elementary school teacher from Holland, the Netherlands. We consider COVID-19 as an invisible enemy, It's an uncertain time. We believe to be in a wrong movie. It's kind of surreal. Our borders to our neighboring countries are closed. You're only allowed to go out to do some groceries with a group of max 3 people. Our restaurants, our bars, our cinemas are all closed. For instance, my grandchildren, they go to school twice a week, and the other days they are being occupied by digital homework. I rather tell you what is allowed nowadays: to garden, to walk, to ride a bike, but everything at 5 feet distance from each other. We do wash our hands a lot. We miss the contacts in our club, our family, our friends. We worry about the progress, the lack of progress. The economy is going downhill. Stay safe, stay healthy.
The coronavirus in Norway, it started escalating in the beginning of March. So in the middle of March, the government came with really strict rules and closed all the schools and the kindergarten. They also closed the gym, like public places where you can meet a lot of people. They only allowed 5 people to be together unless you were a family living in the same house. A lot of public places like the cinema and the restaurants and bars and everything closed. It recently opened in the end of April, so it was like 6 weeks without anything open. Since we were not able to be with more than 5 people at a time, it's a lot of friends that you're not able to see for a long time, so that was also really weird. But now they have opened it up to be 20 people. They have opened school for the youngest kids and the oldest kids so that they can graduate. They also opened the kindergarten, like slowly, but they still have small groups. I don't think we're done with this yet. I think it's gonna take a long time until everything's gonna be back to normal, if things are gonna be back to normal.
From Stockholm, Sweden. In Sweden, our strategy to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic is good hand hygiene and to practice social distancing. We're not allowed to be more than 50 people at the same place at the same time, but the schools are open from kindergarten up to 9th grade. Older students, they have to study from home with some exceptions. We are allowed to go outside, to go golfing, shopping, and to go to restaurants, as long as we keep around 2 yards away from other people. Other countries in Europe has had stricter rules than Sweden, but they are slowly opening up. My wife, she works in Norway, and she is still not allowed to leave the country, so I haven't seen her for about 2 months now. People who can, they are working from home, but since I'm a pilot, it's not really an option for me. I just have to wait until people are allowed to travel without restrictions again, so I can get back up in the air.
Hi guys, I'm in Germany. We have been in a lockdown for just 9 weeks now, I think, maybe 9.5. It's been weird to say the least. So the only public things that are open are pretty much grocery shops and necessary things like pharmacies and doctors, hospitals, obviously. Anything else, be it schools and universities, also restaurants, they're all closed. Schools just reopened, but only for the graduating classes, such that nobody is in contact with more people than they need to, and always 6 feet apart. Obviously, you have to wear a mask if you want to go grocery shopping. You have to wear a mask in any public building, actually. So it's been tough. I miss actually meeting my friends in person. I hope you guys stay healthy during that tough time. You can be certain it's a global issue. It's not just in the United States. Stay healthy, wash your hands. Don't take any risks you really don't have to take. It's not worth it in the long run. And spread positive messages. That's what me and my friends have been doing. Every single time something positive happens, we just share it. Because it's not all bad, even though we're in a pretty weird time right now.
Hello from Germany. I wanted to tell you how the coronavirus affected my life. So right now my school's closed. It's been closed since 8 weeks. I have online classes currently. We have to wear masks to go out grocery shopping. So I really do miss that. Just go out, meet some friends in school, or go out just for shopping or take a walk. But I'm looking forward that it will be better in a few months so we can enjoy the summer, and I really hope we can do that. I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you do too, because we need that positive vibes right now. And I just wanted to tell you how my situation is, and I know we're all in the same boat. So keep wash your hands, stay 6 feet apart, and we can do this.
I'm an American living in Berlin, which is the capital of Germany. I've been here for a little over a year and I love the city. It's a really, really fun, artistic, creative place to be. Even through the quarantine moment, it hasn't been that bad. And we've also actually had COVID-19 for a little longer than in the US. So we're already starting to see the end of all these restrictions. So schools are open again. We can eat in restaurants as long as we keep our distance. People wear masks just so that they're not risking spreading the germs to other people. But overall, life's starting to feel a little normal. Stay safe and look forward to restrictions and life starting to go back to normal in a few short weeks, as long as we do our part, keep our distance, and keep our masks on.
I live in Germany and I'm in first grade. I've been in quarantine for 76 days. I miss going to school and seeing my friends every day. I wish I could play soccer, and I wish I could play in a park and play baseball. Now I get to watch more TV.
Do you think you'll be going back to school soon?
Well, I could have been going on Monday, but my parents said that I'm not.
Some of your classmates are, but some of them are not. Some are staying home.
So 4 of them will be going on Monday, and 5 of them are staying home. Bye!
I am from Bosnia and Herzegovina, where I am right now. My life has been affected by the corona crisis quite a bit, in the sense that I am working from home and have been working from home for the past 2 months. There were a lot of restrictions by the country at the very beginning of the crisis. We were not allowed to go out, and masks and gloves and so forth. Everything has been shut down. A lot of people got fired. But in the past couple of days, things have started to pick up, and as you can see, I'm sitting in a coffee shop right now, and a lot of shops are open now. People are back to work. I won't be back to my office yet because there's 200 of us in the office, but I think we will declare the end of crisis by probably the end of this month. So things are starting to pick up and everything's good.
Hi everyone, my name is Ahmed from Kingdom of Bahrain. I'm an architect, but as you can see, I'm not wearing my hard hat. That is because I'm working from home. Since the start of the pandemic, things have changed a little bit in my country. For example, schools are studying from home, companies are working from home, and a lot of shops are closed temporarily, like barber shops, cinemas, and shopping malls. We are also keeping some measures in place to stay safe, like social distancing, washing our hands regularly, and avoiding to touch our faces. We are doing that in order to go back to normal life very soon. I hope you are doing the same. Stay safe.
I live in Yangon, Myanmar, and I work at a small international school. So we, here in Myanmar, we were quite late to have the first case of the COVID-19. We didn't get our first case until about the second or third week of March, even though we border China. Once that first case happened, things moved really quickly here. Within the same day, the schools were closed, and then by the end of March, all the borders were closed. You couldn't get across the land border, and the airports were closed too. And we also went into lockdown at the end of March. And here was the biggest holiday of the year in the middle of April. It's called Tinjan, and it's the Buddhist New Year. And usually that's a huge big water festival. People move all over the country, they see their families, and this all coincided at the same time that the lockdown happened and all the borders closed. So around the end of March as well, all the migrant workers from Thailand were asked to leave Thailand and come back to Myanmar. So we had like 50,000 people coming back over the borders, trying to get back into Myanmar before the borders closed here as well. And that was a huge problem because they couldn't track all the migrant workers coming back over and they couldn't quarantine them. During the Tinjin holiday, which was for around 2 weeks in the middle of April, everything was closed here. Supermarkets, restaurants. We've had lockdown since the end of March and we've had a curfew. So you're not allowed to be on the street. Well, it was between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. At all. Nobody was allowed out, and now the curfew has been changed to midnight to 4 a.m. that you're not allowed out. Today we've only had 182 cases, which compared to like the UK where I'm from is really minimal, but we don't have Western standard hospitals and doctors, and most people here are really poor, and I think the government was really worried about the impact that would happen if it did take hold, because people just can't afford to go to the doctors here. The quarantine now is 21 days in a government facility that you have to stay, and then you have to do 7 days at home, so it's 28 days in total of quarantine. I feel very fortunate. I'm teaching online and I have food and I can stay in my immediate area.
Hey kids, a big hello from Hamilton Island in Australia, where a lot has changed recently. I'm sure your lives are very different now too, but please don't despair. It means I don't get to see my friends every day at work, and it also means that I have to wait to travel interstate to see my family at home. Life is okay. I get to explore the island, see new places, read lots of books, see my friends that are still here, and I'm very excited for the island to come back alive again when everyone returns. Please make the most of this time while you can. Try something new, and good luck. Be safe. Take care, all the way from Australia.
Reporting from Sydney, Australia. As you can see, I'm here. I have been in quarantine for 2 weeks and I have been reading, I have been playing video games, I have been riding horses, and I have been doing schoolwork. These are the horses I rode. Can't see them very well, but yeah. Thank you very much.
Hi, in Tokyo, Japan. While I've been staying at home, I like to Zoom chat with my friends.
Hi!
For fun, we've been going on long walks outside in quieter areas of our neighborhood. We've been doing a lot of cooking, and we've been working on puzzles. We wear masks when we go into stores, and people spray your hands with hand sanitizer. Most restaurants are closed, so we don't go out to eat right now.